How do you see things going this year? And will everyone make it through this ascension?
When we collaborated and wrote my first book, they were talking about what was going to happen, and they were talking about what we're experiencing now. And they said this transformation would start by the people, and it would start in the Baltic states.
Oh.
The theater of this is all showing that contracted thinking will not work anymore. And you're seeing the pushback by the people. And what we can suggest to you when you're letting go of all these heavy energies that you're speaking of release is to...
Are you ready to shine? Shine bright. Woohoo! Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. If you've ever wanted to hear from the Archangels and know why the world feels so unstable and whether there's light at the end of the tunnel, then do we have the Ask Theo show for you. Today, I'll be speaking with Sheila Gillette, the best-selling author and channel of Theo, the 24 Archangels. That's just what I want to talk with her about today, about what the Archangels known as Theo have to say about humanity today, where we're headed, and how to positively navigate these challenging times. So welcome back to the show, Sheila. Are you ready to shine?
I'm ready. Michael, it's so good to be with you again. And, to assist people during these interesting times that we're in.
I love that you call it interesting, and I could not put that better myself. So I guess I get to ask, with these interesting times, is humanity ascending or is humanity splitting apart?
Humanity's ascending. Humanity is growing. We're growing into a new consciousness. And so all this chaos allows us to move to this new state of being, this new way of being humans on this planet. But we're spiritual beings having a human experience. It's not the other way around. And we're recognizing now in the fifth dimensionary energy, this is part of that change to the higher consciousness, because the old patterns, the old foundational systems, they don't work anymore. And we're birthing a new way of being.
Does it mean so I've kept not in close touch, but close enough touch with the NEWS, what I've called in the past negative wordless stimulation, to know what's going on in the zeitgeist, in the collective right now. But one of the things I know, and today is obviously a big day, and tomorrow will be a big day, and every day is a big day in the story, and that's what it is, a story going on right now. But I find you might want this outcome or that outcome. And for myself, the only thing I can say is, yeah, I think I'd want that outcome. But how do I know? I guess I don't know what's best, and I get to not be attached to even that.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Theo has spoken about this for 5 decades, this time we're living in, and that there would be this chaos. And they started talking about it in the late 70s and 80s. And in my first book, The Fifth Dimension, they spoke about this time. Of course, in our humanness, we think it's about now. And it was a little bit because we've been living into it. But the thing about this is all those old patterns in us and around us in the way we live, because we're evolving in a conscious state, they don't work anymore. We're watching how they don't work. And so we're birthing a new way of being. We're birthing into a different state of being. I don't like to use higher, lower, better, lesser.
Thank you. Well, that's a very human level system.
Yeah, we're evolving. To your word, we're ascending to a different way of being that's now in the fifth dimensionary energy, which is a much more refined vibrational frequency and energy.
What's interesting to me, and I want to get your understanding, and for everybody, in a little bit, we'll have Sheila channel Theo. Um, is it's a much more refined energy. To me, you can feel things more honestly at a time where I believe people would like to feel things less because it's such an overwhelming ride right now.
Oh, yeah. And we're all empaths. So when we've evolved and refined our energy, it makes us much more so. So we're much more susceptible to the chaos. And the emotional energy that's surrounding the atmosphere from everybody that's in fear or anger or whatever it might be about the future because they can't see the new way yet. We're living into it, we're creating it. We do know the old way is not working. We can see the chaos that's happening, but I am so confident about what we're doing because I've been hearing Theo talk about the necessity of this for laying new foundations globally. It's not just here in the United States, it's a global endeavor here. And by the arts and the sciences will be the leaders, not politics, though we'll have to have structure. It's not that will be the leader, it's us. We are going to be the people, will be the leaders.
What do we say to people? You and I are, what's the best way to put it? Well, I used to live in Boulder, Colorado, and I experienced this in Mont Tremblant in Quebec as well. I lived in what was called the Boulder bubble. The rest of the world could be going to heck in a handbasket. And in Boulder, things were groovy. You're doing all right. You and I are both doing all right. There are a lot of people who are doing all right, but feel a lot less than all right now. So they hear what both of us saying, that we're going through this process, we're birthing something anew. They're please get me out of the canal. This hurts. But what do we say to help them when, I mean, that's the rubber meets the road. You're losing the home, you're being persecuted, who knows what's happening to you. You're in mortal fear as working in the federal government. What do we say to help people who are going, okay, you're saying something great is coming out of this, but I'm ducking slings and arrows at this moment?
That's true. And it's how we perceive it that needs to be changed. And we are changing our perceptivity. And Theo talks about this to be steadfast. It's all going to be just fine. And it's all perception of what might happen. What if something horrible happened? You lost your job today, you got it back. I mean, you lose it today, you get it back tomorrow. This is the chaos people are feeling, the push, pull, shove. And the thing is, Theo talks about it's theater. It's theater. And we're actors in this play as well. And this will all change. And the thing about it, it's all happening very fast. All this, let's say, deconstruction, but it began way, 40, 50 years ago. And now we're culminating this change. So this has to happen fast to correct in this new time we're birthing. And it is if we can just stay in the moment and not jump into the what if horrible things are happening. Are they happening right now? Is the question. Are you okay right now? When I've been in moments like you just spoke about, Theo would say to me, what are you living in this moment? Is everything okay this moment? And when they say that to me, I have to go, well, yeah, it is right this moment, because my fears had put me into this other reality that hadn't happened yet. And if we can stay in the moment and think of what if something great will happen, we can begin to bring that forward.
I have an interesting example from today, and forgive me, everybody, if it sounds really trite, but it's what's happening in the Sandler household. The way this year is going, we said we need to get out of the bubble for a little bit. And my wife and I haven't had a real honeymoon. We did a speaking gig and went to an island in Boracay in the Philippines. It didn't turn out to be a real honeymoon, so we bookmarked that. And I said, let's take a honeymoon. So we're going on honeymoon 2 next week, in between caretaking with the fam. We're going, I said, I don't know how it's going to work out with the shows or anything. I'm not concerned about that. It will work itself out. I believe we get to do this. Booked a trip. Took me several days to find just the right place. Got this trip booked. So excited. We went to rent the car last night. Was it last night? Yeah. To find a bot, what they call a virtual agent, had canceled our trip, or more specifically, canceled our lodging. And not only that, but it was a no cancellation policy. You lose your money entirely. And I'm on the phone for hours and I'm not having success with this. Success. And today I'm on the phone for hours and I'm not having success. But along the way, even though the humanness wanted to come up, I kept saying something better is going to come out of this. Now, the town we were going to is supposed to be having heavy construction. Maybe it's because of that. I get to record some things while classes while I'm away. Maybe it's having to do with the internet. I have no idea. But while we were right when we started this, Jessica was able to take our reservation and transfer it to an upgrade. Because it was a right about, you're going to go to the credit card, you're going to fight, you're going to cancel this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. Wait. I believe that's where we're at collectively right now. And it's hard. I keep tapping on my heart saying, I connect with a wave of peace. I connect with a wave of peace.
Like that. I like that.
Because there's this wave of energy of peace that's everywhere. And when we connect with that wave, like a gentle wind, a misty wind blowing on a hot summer's day, there's an you come back down into center and you make a higher, I'm going to call it a 5th dimensional choice rather than the 3D choice.
Exactly. You remind me when you say the 3D choice, there's an old saying about the 3-day rule. If you don't panic when you're challenged like this and many other things, that if you hit a pause button, just pause everything and don't react for 3 days, things have a way of working out within 3 days.
They do.
And so that's kind of what you're talking about. But our instinct is to react. And that's that old fight, flight, fear, freeze syndrome, that old default syndrome of something bad's going to happen. But you staying in that place of center, going, and then this or something better in its place evolves to that. It plugs into that energy rather than the negative.
So I've got a scenario for you, and I'm wondering what Theo would say that we do. A couple of days ago, I'm with my mom. We're going to her primary care physician, and we get there, we check her in, and we going back. It's my dad, my mom, and myself. And they say, well, we can only have 2 people in the room at once. You're going to have to wait here. And they lock the door on us, taking mom away. And mom has been diagnosed with early dementia. She's doing well. But our hearts go up into our throats. And then the clock starts ticking. They're just checking vitals. Clock's ticking, clock's ticking, clock's ticking. What do you do in that moment? I know what I did. Some of it I did great. Not all of it. There's a human element of mom's locked up. I can't get to her. And the mind starts to go, what would Theo say you do in such a moment?
Our higher selves could step in and engage those in what we would see as authority who have the ability to unlock the door, to engage in assisting us because of a mom's situation, that it would be in her best interest to have you there as ears and eyes and memory to remember for her that which she may not be able to, what the doctor says, and to be her advocate. Could they please assist you in creating a miracle? You know, people like assisting other people. They like to feel good, and I have done this. I have one time in my life, I was really angry at my bank because they did something that was just ridiculous. And I was trying to get somebody that would help me resolve it. But I was angry. You know, that human side of self. I was frustrated and angry, and everybody I talked to, no, no, no. And then Marcus said to me, he said, get him to help you make a miracle.
I love it.
It's like, duh, I knew that. I forgot. And so I went back. The next person I talked to, I said, could you please help me make a miracle today? And they kind of laughed and they said, they'd try. They did. It changed the whole energy of that. So what I'm saying to you, it's the same thing in your experience, engaging somebody to their better self coming
And
forward, saying yes.
and I did the same thing. I went through the humanness of it. Then I got back in touch with my higher self, and it took a little bit, but we ended up with dad and myself in the room. Thank you. But you watch that wave of energy come up. And I almost want to call it beast mode.
A description though, because that's how it feels, isn't it? You're just like, grr.
Exactly. I'm going to say, what? So this time period, Theo's been talking about it for 40 or 50 years. And we'll ask just a few more questions and we'll go into a channeling. Was even these birthing pains, was all of this part of the plan? And does that mean it's actually, dare I say, a beautiful time for humanity?
Theo says it's a magnificent time for humanity. It's a magnificent time to be alive in this new birthing that we're doing. And they said, and birthing is messy. As we know. But when we collaborated and wrote my first book, The Fifth Dimension: Channels to a New Reality, in the final chapter, which was prophecy, they were talking about what was going to happen. And they were talking about what we're experiencing now. But of course, in our human mind, we think, well, that's tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow. But what did happen, they said this transformation would start by the people, and it would start in the Baltic states.
Whoa.
And the book came out in December of 1988. In 1989, the Berlin Wall came down. And by the people, things started to transform. So now we're here. And this is the time they were talking about. Yes, it started then. And I have to tell you, I realized that I went to work in Germany and to do a conference. And where it was in Eastern Germany, that was held by the Russians. But then after the wall came down, on the Baltic Sea, it was a resort area on the Baltic Sea. And I stood in the Baltic Sea and I just was one God bump going, is this what they were talking about? It started in Germany, Baltic state. And now we're seeing the evolution on the planet of this new birth that's happening. So I'm really optimistic about this time. And they've talked about the prigogine theory, with an atom. When an atom shifts and changes and breaks through to a different version of itself, there's all this chaos, inside the atom. So that's what they've often described this as. There's going to be this breakthrough.
That brings up my next question, because what you're talking about, that electron changing state, it vibrates, it's violent, it's scary. If you're in it, you probably think, if you're the electron, this is it, this is the end, I'm going to die. And then it's not a gradual linear progression. All of a sudden, you find yourself at the new state. And you probably even can't even perceive how you were at the other state, because the world is so different from that new vantage point.
Exactly. And I just had something run outside my head. It'll come back again, but it just, the fact that this is an exciting time, an enthusiastic time to live. Theo said excitement has fear in it, so use enthusiasm.
All right, I like it.
That's a great thing to do, but be enthusiastic and present in the experience.
Is it because we were talking about that state change, is it, I can see it's a logarithmic curve. Is there an I want to reread, I haven't read it, I want to read that last chapter of your book. This logarithmic curve, is it going to get even steeper, or are we near that perigene, or that point where all of a sudden there's the calm at the end of the storm?
How they described it, there will be a calm at the end of the storm. A calm because we will be different. Like we were talking about, when we change our energy, like you did with your mother and your dad at the doctor's office. When you were agitated, but when you shifted that energy, everything shifted. And we've all seen that. We all have evidence in our lives when we shift that energy to a different state, a non-resistant state, things transform. What we do when we get in that agitated state, we just put up a bunch of resistance. And fear is resistance. It's a lack of love. So what would love do? Really? It just pour more love on a situation and it transforms.
Thank you. Last question I have before we go to Theo, if it's all right, which is, actually two. One's a personal note question. First, before that, how do we remember who we really, truly are at this time, and what really, truly are we?
As Theo would say, you're magnificent beings having a human experience. You're spiritual beings. And in that, how we remember who we are is by letting go of limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves that are simply untrue, by the experience of conditions and circumstances that have informed our belief system. But beliefs can be changed. The events and circumstances where those beliefs were created or adopted, those won't change. That's our history. It's the curriculum of our lives. But how we view them can change. We can look for the gifts and blessings that have made us who we are today, that have strengthened us with the wisdom we have now, had we not had those experiences. So what is the gift and blessing? It's evolving us to this greater state of awareness and remembering.
Some reason I feel like saying it's honing the stone or tempering the steel. This time period is actually helping us to be, I want to use stronger, but I don't mean strong as in a young way, but that magnificent creator that we are, that ability to broadcast and shift and change the world and change our world. We get to own that during this time. And I think that's what's going to happen through this transformation, is we're going to realize, wait a second, I ain't powerless. Who are you talking about? I am all powerful.
Yes, exactly. And that's why Theo says all these changes will come by the people. Use your voice. Do what you can. You have agency here. You have authority here. And we're witnessing it in the world. People are standing up and saying, no, no, we're not doing this. When we see what's happening in the United States, people are just saying, nope. And that's where it's going to come from. I'm just, again, enthusiastic about what we're birthing here and how we're going to be to that different level that you were speaking about, a new order of things where we can't even remember how it was before, because it will be so magnificent.
Thank you. After all the time that you've spoken with Theo and heard from Theo, and Theo's come through you, and do you remember all of your channeling as well when it comes through?
No, I don't, but I've
So it's a
listened to
frequency.
it. It is a frequency, but it's in there somewhere, because when people will talk about what Theo said to them, or if something, like if you were say after you talk with Theo, well, Theo said this, then it was like, oh yeah, I remember. But I couldn't repeat it to you until I heard it again. It's like remembering a dream.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. So then, in remembering the dreams with all the times that Theo has spoken, are you holding a vision for the future or have an image or a feeling state of what the future looks like? And before we go to Theo and ask, would you mind sharing what you see in the future?
I see a balanced state where well, mostly I see us as individuals, not the foundations of the world. I know that's all working itself out. It's already begun, with um we're a global economic structure. We already know this, so we're going to have more awareness of that. And all these things will be done by the people wanting the change. But what I see most importantly are the changes in us and how we will be living and being in our relationship with each other. And I find that enormously exciting. And I look so forward to us loving on each other, having good dialogues and differences of opinions, and just great conversations. No unimportant conversations,
Ooh,
deep, because we have the superpower of vulnerability, of owning who we are. And when we love ourselves enough in that sense, in a state of unconditional love, it's not a feeling, it's a state of being in peace and calm and confidence, then we treat each other appropriately and respectfully with love. That's what I'm looking forward to.
sounds beautiful. And I love us. And we get to do it now as fifth dimensional beings. It's so hard. It's so scary. What are they going to say? You get to speak you. You get to be you. You get to own you, not what does this other person want me to say out of love, out of kindness, out of compassion. But you get to own you rather than the worry and fear or concern of if I say this, I'm going to trigger this other person. And then we get to hear and listen to what they have and breathe into that as well.
Yes, yes. People think vulnerability is a weakness. And when you start being in your authenticity in that way, it really is a superpower, and it invites others to do the same.
Thank you. All right. Would you mind if we go to Theo now? And I have a lot to ask.
Okay. Of course. It's my pleasure. Here
and
we go.
and for this, forgive me, everybody, if you see me changing glasses, going to these, which are my even more powerful glasses now for when we have Theo on.
It is the beginning, is it not? We are appreciative of the opportunity to serve. You may ask.
But welcome, Theo, the big first question that I think is on everyone's minds. If we are ascending, why do things seem so challenging at these times?
The challenge is the dissolution of old ways of being. And so the gravity pull energetically on each of you is to hold on to the old rather than to lean into or step into the new, the unknown, the unseen. For what is comfortable is what is familiar. Even if it's not satisfying, the pull to the familiar is so strong. It's like the gravity of the earth. So that's why rocket ships have booster rockets to go beyond that gravitational pull into space. So what's required of you is to have your boosters in faith and confidence to be the propulsion beyond the gravitational pull to the old ways of being.
Thank you. And I'm sure you knew this, that I am just north of Cape Canaveral in Florida. And I have an alarm set for my daughter to watch astronauts go up into outer space and see the rocket ship launch in about 15 minutes from now. So, how appropriate is that, Theo? Next question that I have. Thank you. It seems almost impossibly difficult on the surface right now to tell who or what is telling the truth. And I put that in quotes. How do we discern or understand what's going on at this time, or do we even try?
It's difficult to understand because it is so volatile energetically. How you can know what is truth is each and every one of you has a truth barometer in you. And what we mean by that is when truth is spoken to you, or you speak it to someone else, you have a visceral, physical experience of that. Some call it shivers, goosebumps, but it's visceral. The body informs you this is truth. And you all use it. You all know what that is for you. So use it now. Use your truth barometer and ask if you hear something. Is that true? You will have a feeling of that when asked or when you're listening, because you all know if you sit with it and you listen to your body barometer. You may ask.
Thank you. How do you see things going this year? And will everyone make it through this ascension?
Everyone who's willing
Ooh.
to do the inner work necessary for the evolution. Some will not. Some will choose to leave their incarnation, to not be a participant in this new birth. But that is not right or wrong, good or bad. Each soul chooses to incarnate and to leave the body.
Does this mean a mass exodus is possible?
You just had one, did you not, with a pandemic? That was part of it. That was part of the change that is happening. It also was part of the awareness that you're all one in a global species and that there are no boundaries between you. For the virus did not care about where you lived, your language, the color of your skin, your gender, whatever anybody would say. The virus wanted a human host. Yes. And so it's to see there are no barriers between you globally at all. You're energetic beings, your vibrational frequencies that are one.
Thank you. In danger of going political, and I love everybody, and I don't believe in such a thing as a side, particularly on a round planet. How do we go from a what is the linear? I don't know if there's a right word, progression from a U.S. government that is in favor of tariffs and barricades and borders if we're going to a place of no borders and of an economy of all. How does one situation help? I guess I'm asking about polarities, bring us to the other, not one right, not one wrong, but how does that lead us to that other place?
So, what you're seeing now is the ultimate of old belief systems that have been generationally passed along for thousands upon thousands of years that are changing in and through each and every one of you now. But those old patterns don't work, those ways of dominance, but they're all fear based. And so, where you're moving into is a greater understanding to go beyond fear, the what if something horrible is happening, to what if something wonderful will happen, which is the new fifth dimensionary energy of manifestation in a way of growth and collaboration, not insulation and isolation. So, what this is showing is how egregious all of these old ways of being, not promoting well being, but contracting. The universe is expanding or contracting. This is showing contraction. And there's been a trajectory of expansion so that ultimately not going back to this contracted way of thinking because of this new fifth dimension, fifth density, which is a new vector of time. So the fourth dimension was this awakening, but still in that greater contractive way of being. But now you're crossing into a expanded state of being. We were going to say a higher state, but that's a false statement. It is a state of being beyond what has been known up until now.
Thank you. And I'm guessing at some point it swings so far in the other direction that people pop awake, pop alive, and choose something else. Is my guess is the ending of what you're describing there.
Yes.
You mentioned a new vector of time. Can you share more about that and what that means for our lives?
What that means for your life is a new way of looking at things, new perceptions, a refined way of understanding. As we stated, going from a contracted state, broadening the aperture of one's vision, perceptivity, into possibility and probabilities.
Thank you. How do we stay in this state? For instance, right now, there is a huge fear. You were mentioning economy, a huge fear of, for instance, a potential global economic collapse. And I can hear people in the audience going, don't even plant that seed. What I'm wanting to go to from that seed wasn't planted by me, is how do we stay in a state of how does something even more wondrous happening from here?
So the economy was in an excellent state of being and growing. And up until just a few days ago, there was a knowing that that was true. Yes. And now, because of this contraction, in the drama that, of course, everybody's thinking everything's blowing up and the economy, the planet won't blow up, nor will the economy of the world. The theater of this is all showing that contracted thinking will not work anymore. And you're seeing the pushback by the people that it's not going to be allowed. So no, the economy will be intact. It still is, actually, even though all of this theatrics is making people uncertain, and that's why it's happening. So certain people can feel they control, but that can't be either. So it's just the dance that is being done. The music hasn't stopped yet. So just be malleable as you are in a dance to the twists and turns. And when the music is done, you'll be exhilarated by doing the dance.
Thank you. How much is control illusory at this time?
All of it. Because each and every one is being triggered to know that's unacceptable. Each feeling that in your own being. Again, truth will out. The truth of you being magnificent, spiritual beings birthing this new world. And you will not be deterred.
Thank you. How far away we've heard, actually, before I go there are many channels who share that there will be 3 days of contraction of the sun. They call it 3 days of darkness, followed by a burst of light and a shifting of humanity to a higher state, a more awakened state of consciousness. Have you heard this, or what does this mean to you?
We would say that's a metaphor. And biblically, those types of metaphors have been used. Yes. But you're living it right now, aren't you? The contraction. And the burst of light will be the change. The burst of awareness, that's light. And it's crossing through that invisible barrier of all beliefs held of disempowerment that then frees each and every one of you to move forward in knowing that you're master creative beings manifesting a new world.
Thank you. So we have the burst of light. I asked about that. That jumped in ahead of the question that I wanted to ask, which is, that one escapes me. It'll double back. It'll come back around. Yes. A lot of other channels speak, and it's something that I've heard, that we're not far off from being welcomed in on a conscious or on a more public level into a galactic community. Extraterrestrials who may be us in different times or different places in the galaxy. How close are we to this?
It's happening as we speak. And you're more prepared in your human existence to accept it. Again, those are old fears, are they not? And it hasn't happened fully in mass up until now because of those old fears and the contracted thinking, the old ways of thinking. Now, this new consciousness evolving in and through all of you now can accept this without fear.
Beautiful. Thank you. As we go to this fifth dimension, there's talk of we need to save the earth, or we get to help these people or the animals, or so many beautiful causes. do we have as a higher dimensional being, and I get the danger in using that word, as a fifth dimensional over a third dimensional being, do we have obligations in any sort of way? Or is there something we will have impetus to do at an even higher level?
You'll live appropriately in honoring the planet. The planet's going to be here longer than anybody living on it now. It has that strength of rejuvenation and regeneration. As you saw in the pandemic, when people stopped doing what they were doing, the earth began to clear itself atmospherically, and the oceans and waters became clear. So you know the planet has the ability to do that when there's a shift of awareness and a stop of doing things that are destructive. So there will be an awareness of that each and every one has this conscious state of being that allows for the planet to do its own clearing and healing, if you would. As you heal yourselves, all things will be healed.
How do we keep, how do we, you said those who would leave are those who are not wanting to do the work at this time. What does the work look like, or what is this healing process, or how do we do this?
And making a commitment to yourselves to remember who you are, not to give your power away to other thoughts and beliefs that you are lesser than. Sounds simple, simple words. The actions are important because many of you will feel uncomfortable emotions, and most of you avoid them. You take for granted the good ones and avoid the ones that make you uncomfortable. And they're all to be experienced, and they have beauty in each and every one. And that's what you've come in these human bodies to experience. So we would say embrace them all. They will not, the uncomfortable ones will not destroy you. And you'll be more aware of the good feelings. Not because you will be aware of your moment to moment experience. Emotional spectrum is like a rainbow. And there are different degrees, just like different hues of the colors of the rainbow when you look at it. But you would not take one color out of the rainbow, would you? Because you want to enjoy the full spectrum of it all. Emotions are like that. So we would say you'll feel better when you stop avoiding the ones you fear.
Last night was, and so this will come out in a couple weeks, was a lunar eclipse. And I'm out in the middle of the night and I'm trying to release, not trying, I'm releasing and letting go of all of my attachments, all of my ways, all of the thoughts that I can possibly release to allow in the new. So on so far in this interview, I've been asking question after question, which almost sounds heady. What I'd like to do here is release and ask you to share as much as you'd like about what you feel we get to know and learn and embody at this time.
Lisa says we've been speaking in this conversation about how magnificent you are. If you could see yourselves as we see you, there would be no discontent. You would see yourselves as the beings that you are in a solid state of unconditional love. And what we can suggest to you when you're letting go of all these heavy energies that you're speaking of release is to put your right hand on your heart and your left hand on your belly, your solar plexus, your power center, and just intend that you're letting go of all the heavy energy. And do that 3 times. I release all heavy energy. Because what you're talking about, those thoughts and beliefs, are just heavy energy holding you down.
Why do we feel at this time when we are in the ascending process like things are actually heavier then?
So perception, isn't it? So asking the self, is this true? Again, the truth barometer. Is what I'm sensing or feeling or experiencing true? For most often, it's just something you hold in your mind about what if something horrible is going to happen, and no worrying is praying for what you don't want. Because the quantum field, the manifestational energies that are the manifestational energies for your life, does discern your thoughts as good, bad, or anything else. It just is energy it aligns to make it so. So when people say the manifestational energy, the law of attraction, isn't working, that's false. It's always working. Just like electricity is all around you all the time, it's always working. What is the conduit? It's traveling on to be experienced, like a light bulb or a computer. So this energy is constantly working. You have what you have because of how you think and how you speak, because that's where the energy aligns by the decisions you make. It aligns, it doesn't discern, it's just energy conduit to creating for you, with you, as you, life itself.
Thank you. So I love this practice you just shared. Is there something, maybe it's this practice, is there something we can do each day to align with these energies or bring us back to these energies or bring us back on an energetic level rather than the conscious mind to remembering who and what we are and get ourselves back in that power center place?
So, how you start your day is very important. So, before you get out of bed, when you awaken, think of something that you're proud of yourself for. One thing, it can be more, but one is sufficient. And think of one thing you're very grateful for. There's no contraction in either one of these things. Before you put your feet on the floor, start your day with that essence of love, and it will continue energetically in the day for you.
Thank you. What does unconditional love mean to you, and how do we bring that even more into our lives?
It's a solid state of being. It's not a feeling. It's a feeling of confidence and peace. It's like if you were the eye of the hurricane is calm, isn't it? It takes no notice of all the debris swirling around. It just remains calm. So in essence, that state of unconditional love is that point of soul-centeredness of calm. No matter what challenge you have in your life or your day, you will have the confidence with this soul-centeredness that you know you can manage any challenge and learn from it elegantly.
Thank you. Can you share more how we can be or embody the calm at the eye of the storm?
Make a decision for it. I am the man, I am the woman who expresses unconditional love to self and others.
Thank you. What does it mean
So,
to,
what you do
yes,
with unconditional love is you realize that when you're giving it to another, they are more important than the thing
mhm,
that may frustrate you about them. that they are more important in your life than anything, you can ask yourself, would this thing matter? Would this upset matter if this person wasn't in my life? You realize unconditional love in that moment because the being is more important than the thing. Because all irritations, all frustrations will change, won't they? All challenges or curriculum of life, how you meet them changes when you have that state of being of self with confidence and calm. And what you will notice that the challenges get less because you're not drawing that intensity to you to learn unconditional love from. You already have it.
Thank you. Does that mean, oh, dangerous question, that we are off track or not thinking properly or something if we are facing many challenges in our lives?
No, you just have a great or strong curriculum.
Oh, so we may actually have chosen the greater challenges.
You always have. And know that what is being drawn unto you is soul directed. So, what we would encourage you to do rather than avoidance, embrace them. Intend to get every moment of the learning that you can squeeze out of the challenge because it's the soul who's brought it to you. And there are many gifts and blessings within that.
Thank you.
And you'll realize you're more powerful than you think you are.
You've talked about us being master creators. What does that mean? And what does that have to do with us focusing on new timelines?
You are creative beings. You're creative souls. You created this life. You chose it. And you're choosing your paths. Your inspirations come and you follow them. And know each of you has evidence in your life where you were inspired that you would be, have, or do something without doubt, and it all worked out. You didn't know how. That's the creative being that you are.
Thank you. And playing with timelines, what does that mean?
Time is a construct that you have in your calendars, your clocks, your appointment books. It's just a construct to manage your life on this beautiful planet. Ultimately, there is no time. And realize this, whatever you're doing, you have an eternity to live it out. You've chosen this particular, we'll say, linear time to be embodied for soul purpose, soul desire. You won the lottery, you got the body to do so. Each and every one of you is unique in being on the planet to be the person you are and to express your unique energy, however you express it passionately. The purpose, your purpose, is life itself. Being here now. How you express it passionately is what everyone seeks to do.
Does passion then equal path? What we are passionate about brings us to our path, if there even is one path, but is a carrier wave moving us forward.
Yes. Recognize this: you all have interests, and you devour anything you can find that educates you about what you're interested in. You keep wanting to know more and do more and be more in that environment. So life itself unfolds in this way for you. That's how you notice what you're passionate about.
Thank you. What does it mean to generate miracles by tuning into the quantum field?
That's the manifestational energy we're talking about. You can call it miracles. That makes it more fun, doesn't it? And that's a good attitude to have, because when you think in terms of fun, that childlike quality of wonder and awe, you're open and receptive to noticing it as it comes forth. That's the expanded life to be lived.
Thank you. How important is meditation at this time?
Life-saving. Meditation is a way for your body to relax and to rest. It's also the opportunity to connect on a soul level, to connect to all guidance that is about you. It's good for your physical body. Meditation now is a lifesaver to tune out the noise and chaos and to come into that soul centering we speak about.
Thank you. Is there a certain meditation or practice that may be easiest for people to begin with?
Using a mantra form, oftentimes, just so your mind has focus, you could use the universal Om sound. And Om, in every word for God, there is an sound. So that aligns you. And the universal Om is the vibrational frequency of the soul. Attunement. You can do that. You can use a visualization. If you're a visual learner, you may put a picture in the center of your forehead, your third eye, such as a rosebud. And as you breathe, see it begin to open to its fullest bloom. Something to keep the conscious mind busy. There are many meditational forms to be used, but what speaks to you and what is best for you, you will know. And note that if you ever have daydreamed, sat and looked out a window and altered your conscious state, that's a form of meditation. There are physical meditations, walking, moving meditations. So, what is yours? What is the one that you go to most? Because they all work.
Thank you. As we start to wind things down here, what's your vision? How do you see us coming out of this tunnel or birthing canal? And what does humanity look like at that point?
As we stated, imagine a place where you have peace on your planet. That's where you're moving into. As each and every one of you comes into that solid state of unconditional love of self, you treat each other well with love. And it brings about a love of self and a recognition. As we said, if you could see yourselves as we see you, there would be no discontent. You would have an awareness of how we see you, and you would treat each other appropriately. And you're collaborative beings, not competitive. And so imagine in these collaborations bringing about a world that you all can see that is good for all. The human species, and all other species on the planet.
Thank you. How do we use that word collaborate? How do we collaborate with our bodies better? There are so many who are watching this who are sick or infirmed or of an autoimmune condition. To me, it seems like I don't even know. So many people have an autoimmune condition today. What can we do to begin to heal or get in better collaboration with our bodies?
The integrated process would assist the soul integrated process that we brought forward almost 6 decades ago. However, it is listening to the body. The body will speak clearly to you where it's out of balance. Listen, it's not outside you. It's from the inside out you respond. So do an inner vision of your body. Take your vision inside and start at the crown, moving your vision down through the body to see where any stuck energy is, any imbalance may be. Ask the body what is here, what's emotionally here and what's out of balance, and what can you do to correct it. The body will tell you if you listen. And then incorporate a team of beings for health. We don't speak of illness, we speak of imbalance. And that's which is out of balance can become balanced if one listens.
How do we call in a team? And do we call in a team for health? Do we call in a team for meditation? Can we call in a team for anything?
Yes, a life team, yes. And for health, you can have your medical professionals that you work with. Remember, you work with them, they work with you. They must listen to you because you live in your body. But engage others in the magnificence of your life as you will engage in the magnificence of theirs.
Thank you. How do you see kids coming in differently, this new generation? And is there anything, for instance, biased? I have a almost 3-year-old. Is there anything that we do to help this new generation with their maybe better open vision or open sight or whatever that is?
Listen to them. Young beings are still connected to the source that they are until 5, 6 years old and up until 12. They hear, they see, they know. So allow them that knowing. Do not squash their stories and their awarenesses. Listen to them. They're coming in to birth this world we're speaking about. Many are very bright, but highly vibrationally attuned. So that's why you're seeing, as beings describe autism spectrum, these are just finely, highly tuned beings. And some have difficulty in the bodies that they've chosen. And so there's more extremes than others. But change the educational system to accommodate their brilliance, their genius, and the environmental conditions so that there's calm. Music is a good structure for this. Orchestrations calms the body because the body is much like a symphony, vibrationally speaking. So these are things you can do to assist them. But most of all, listen and love.
Thank you. Last couple questions that I have. It appears the veil is thinning. It appears our gifts are popping. It appears we're gaining greater insight. We're gaining greater sensitivity. a more of a feeling sense is open. As people are gaining these gifts and this awareness, how do we make it through this time? Because we almost feel like as empaths, we're overwhelmed or feeling too much.
So understand this, you are, because you're holding it as your own. You're not letting it pass through just as information. So when you absorb the energies of others, notice what's yours and let the rest go. It's like letting the wind pass through the screen on your window. It doesn't hold on to it, and you enjoy the nice breeze, yes? Gain the information that it's there to inform you of, and release it. Is this mine or someone else's? If it's someone else's, let it be theirs, not yours.
Thank you. Any last words that you want to share, or vision or hope or anything that will help us through this interesting, shall we say, time?
Stay in the moment to moment experience of life itself. As you stated, the veils are thin. You are a multidimensional being, and you are in this energy now of that recognition. So understand and know that to be true. And you are an evolving being in this time, in this new world evolution. You are a participant and a way shower by choice, experiencing what you experience and sharing that with others when they ask. No, you're all doing this together. Collaboration is the key, not separation. And there's nothing like learning from each other. Different points of view are good to have. Be open to that, because each of you are unique in your own personal life learning, and someone can learn from your experience. Share who you are. The superpower of your vulnerability of being in your truth is a gift you give the world. You are complete with your ask.
Yes. Thank you.
God's love on to you. Good
Thank you.
day.
Good day.
Hi there, Michael.
Hi. You're glowing, Sheila.
Oh, thank you.
That was fun. That was strong. That was powerful today, is the best way to describe it. Powerful.
Oh, good. Well, I'll be looking forward to listening to it.
So, how hopeful are you for the future?
I'm very optimistic. It's just bumpy right now. And my human side goes, wait a minute. Uh, I'm not one that likes roller coasters. I've never been fond of them. And that's kind of how it feels. So I try not to get on that roller coaster. I try to stay more centered. And the beauty of it, I get to talk to people like yourself and others in our community, and it's such a treat, and it just keeps things in perspective.
I like that. On that note, I'm thinking of roller coasters, and I'm like, one of these days, Hannah Bear's going to one-on-one. After my last bump in the head, I think for several years I couldn't get on one, but I'm guessing I've healed enough I could, so it'll be interesting. It's probably this year. She's going to go, Daddy, I want to go on a roller coaster. Where can people go to find your work, to find your upcoming program, to find everything you have to offer?
I can go to asktheo.com. And if you want our information and be on our mailing list, we also offer a gift for each and every one that signs up for the mailing list. That's a guided meditation with Theo that's really great. And we have a mentoring program coming up April 1st. It's a psychic evolution, psychic expansion 12-week course that I call it demystifying the mystic. It's getting into all the ways we receive in our human body, and in this receiver that's our human body, all our psychic gifts, and how we can expand them, how we can know what they are. Knowledge is power, so we can release any fear we might have of maybe some of the experiences we're having. As you know, because you're very psychically aligned and attuned, that, and I know you talk to people who are opening up. This is a time of great opening, that they just want to know what's happening to me. And maybe they don't have anybody to talk to about it. So we have this program that is informational, but it's also experiential. We have a lot of fun. We experiment. And that shows people, hey, you're more powerful than you know. It's fun. It starts April 1st, and everything's on the website.
Beautiful, beautiful. The link one more time, and I'll put it down below as well.
AskTheo.com.
Beautiful. And anything special you and Marcus are doing this year as these energies change and as we are going through this enthusiastic time period?
Oh gosh, we're launching the Art of Relationship, Discover the Power of Unconditional Love program. That's a book and video and audio book, and that's going to be launching very soon to the general public. We're taking a group to Hawaii in September. We always take a group once a year, at least once a year, somewhere wonderful. And this year it's the island of Kauai. It's beautiful. And Marcus and I just love interacting with everybody that comes, and all the work that we do and all the trainings. We don't call it work. It's a contribution, but it's a sharing and collaboration with just amazing people, as you know, as you are doing. We just got back from celebrating 10 days in the island of Kauai for our birthdays in February. And just like you're going on your honeymoon, we decided we'd take 10 days to ourselves. And we had so much fun, and wonderful gifts that came our way from friends who were there that we didn't know would be there, that we met up with and shared meals with. And, we enjoyed ourselves a lot. So we're going to have more of that coming up. We have some weddings in our family and just some fun. We're going to do some fun.
I love it. And you've just planted a seed that I can hear people saying right now, Michael, what are you going to have a trip that you're going to bring people on? And I'm like, wow, once a year. Why not? We could do that. We could do that.
Yes, you can. It's a gift you give yourself, Michael.
Thank you. So
because it's so much fun.
It's going to be. It's going to be. Any last words you want to share with people, leave people with, help people to fly today, to be the master creators, anything of the sort?
What I would share, just do it. That Nike saying, just do it. Just live life. Say yes to life. Don't be afraid of it. All this chaos is going to come to order, and a higher order of itself still. So no, we're all in it together. So let's lock arms and fly, right?
Woohoo! Woohoo!
There you go.
Thank you so much, Sheila. This has been absolutely beautiful, spectacular, special, wondrous, uplifting, inspiring, strong, powerful, awesome. I can keep going on.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's been my pleasure to be with you. I always look forward to this time that we can chat and enjoy each other's company. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, recognize you are the master creator, and things are going to get even more wondrous and even more brighter. Sure. No matter what. And above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! Thank you so much, Sheila. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? I hope you had as much fun as I did. Wow, Theo was strong today. Not strong as in stern, but strong as in powerful words of how we're going to shift, we're going to grow, we're going to expand, we're going to change, and we're going to come out ahead at this higher level. On that note, if you want to plug in at this higher level and join a group of like-minded individuals as we all bring each other up during this time, as we learn, we grow, we expand, we shed, we grow into our new true fifth dimensional selves, come join the School of Mystics. There's the link down below. 4 Wednesdays every month, we do attunements, we do teachings, we do group intention meditations, and we do powerful clearings as well. There's that link down below. We'd love you to come join us. You'll find community, you'll find family, and you'll find you at an even higher level. If you simply want to bring your vibration up, 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 and way up on a daily basis, sign up for our free newsletter, dailywoohoo.com, where I share each day through story and teaching how to bring your energy up. You read that once a day and it will shift, change, and transform your life. It's free, dailywoohoo.com. And of course, if you want to learn how to channel, to connect with the other side, whether it's loved ones, angels, guides, the works, simply go to automaticwriting.com, click that link down below, automaticwriting.com, where we have live classes once a month, plus a whole video-based program so you can begin channeling today. Well, actually, technically, tomorrow morning. And here's a link to the next amazing show. I love you so, so much. Keep on shining bright. And how does it get any better than this? Lots of love. I love you, and be well. Woohoo!